Hey there, nation. Welcome to the show. We help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander CheapSkate, and now it's time for another edition of Tales from the Underhive. This is Necromunda Battle Report number 20. This is a shootout scenario that's fought between my buddies Warlord Ace of 911 with his House Van Saar gang versus my other buddy Fresh Prince Bel-Air of the Iron Sights with his House Orlock gang. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for these two to throw it down once again in a shootout scenario. These guys will only get a handful of fighters. They got to walk down the lonely mile towards each other and cut loose with weapons and see exactly what happens on this part. So with that being said, and without any further ado, let's go and talk about the different gang rosters on this one and talk about exactly who's fighting in the shootout. Alright, first off, we're going to start with 911, the House Van Saar gang for Warlord Ace. As you can see on this list, their gang has actually gone through some pretty rough times. They've only had one win and two losses since starting the whole second half of the campaign with them. Their gang rating is currently at 1,469 points, not doing so well. On this one, however, on this scenario, what happens is you roll a d6 to figure out how many fighters are taking place in the actual shootout. In my buddy Warlord Ace's case, he managed to get 4 of his fighters to go. The 4 fighters who are going are Tough Shakes. That guy's arm is a ganger, who's armed with a bolt pistol, chain sword, and weapon reload. He's got the medic and the chest wound, and a chest wound, so he's got -1 to his toughness. After that, we have Moloko. That guy's a ganger who's armed with a flamer as well as a stub gun. He's partially deafened. He's got the fixer and the specialist skills. And then after that, we have Souljax is going up next. He's armed with a bolt gun as well as a last pistol. He's got the weaponsmith skill. And then finally, you have Mega Man, who's another ganger armed with a plasma gun as well as a last pistol. And he has a combat master, fast shot, as well as specialist skills as well. So those would be the 4 representatives of 911 on the shootout for this one. And now it's time to talk about Fresh Prince Bel-Air's the Iron Sights. This is his House Orlock gang. In this scenario, 3 members of his gang are going to fight in the shootout. First of all, you have Starbuck. That guy is a ganger who's armed with a hunting rifle with scope. He's also packing 2 bolt pistols. He's got the gunfighter ability, which is going to be very important for the shootout. He's also got marksman as well as a rapid fire ability. So this guy is super deadly. He can get off 4 different shots with his bolt pistols. Might be able to take out the entirety of 911 if he gets lucky. After that, we have Johnny the Boy. He is a ganger who's armed with an auto pistol and frag grenades. He hates VR of the jury. He has a disarm, deflect, berserker charge, as well as medic skills. So this guy's a close combat madman. And after that, we have Clunk, who's another ganger who's armed with a stun gun and dum-dum bullets. He knows the deflect, disarm, as well as rapid fire ability as well. So like I said, pretty solid group of guys. They got 2 wins and 3 losses so far. They're pretty effective gang for our scenarios. And so now that you know exactly who's going to fight the shootout, let's go ahead and talk about the scenario rules real quick, as well as where we're fighting. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to talk about the combat zone where we're fighting at, as well as the scenario rules. As you can see, both gangs are lined up across each other on the overpass. The game is pretty simple. The game is called Shootout. The idea is that both gangs line up directly 16 inches across from each other, and what happens is that both gangs move up 1 inch towards each other for every single round. And after they move up 1 inch to each other, both gangs roll a d6. Basically, they take those d6s and they add them up over after how many rounds. After so many rounds, if your total ends up being 15, or more, basically the nerve on the gangs break. They draw guns, they start shooting each other, and they start blasting each other down. Then once that's over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 1. Now, when it comes to rolling a d6, scores of 1 through 5 are basically just whole numbers that you add together for every single round. However, if you roll a 6, it basically translates to 0 points. So as you can see there, that way the build-up kind of lasts over a long time in the climactic shootout until eventually some gang members break. Once you get to 15 or you break 15, what happens is that you start rolling for initiative tests, you start rolling to shoot at each other, and then after that you guys just kind of cut loose at that point. And the difference in the break tests basically translates into experience points for the gang that basically wins against those who broke first, basically is how it works. So that's pretty much how the shootout rules work. And as you can see in this photo as well, you can see the 3 members of the Iron Sights who are fighting for this battle report. When the shootout occurs, what you do is you roll a d6 for every single member of the gang that's shooting it out. You add their initiative score, and then you also determine what kind of weapon they're going to use. If they decide to use a pistol for the shootout, they get a +1 added to their shootout score. If they use a basic weapon, they get 0. If they're using heavy weapons, they get -1 to their score as well. And since a lot of people in this gang actually have pistols, they'll be using that for their bonuses. Once you figure out what their shootout score is, you then fire shootout in descending order, starting from the guy with the highest rating all the way down to the lowest. Whoever whoever gets shot during the turn, if they get shot and wounded, they'd miss out their turn. Usual rules apply after that point. Then after the shootout phase is over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, and then it becomes a normal gang of Necromunda right afterwards. As you see in this photo, this is also the main 4 guys for fighting for 9/11. So now that we have the combat zone and the scenario rules over with, we're just going to be quiet. We're going to go through each of the different title sequences real quick, show you exactly what the scores are and what round number we're in, and then you get to see exactly who wins a shootout on this scenario. All right, with 9/11 breaking first on the quick draw, so the shootout start beginning now. And as you can see, here's our list of guys who basically go into shooting order. First off, we start off with Tough Shakes of 9/11, followed by Starbuck of the Iron Sights. After that, we have nothing but 9/11 crew members. We have Mega Man, Moloko, and then Souljax taking their shots next. After that, we have Giant the Boy as well as Clunk. And so now all these gangers, they pull out their pistols. They get their bonuses for using pistols to use in the quick draw. And then we start officially starting out with the bodies hitting the floor. And as you can see in this photo, the very first victim of the shooting takes place. Tough Shakes takes aim with his bolt pistol, cuts loose right in the dead center of Starbuck, and manages to put that guy out of action the very first shot. So now the deadliest guy at shooting, who's Starbuck, is now completely out of action. And 9/11 skip the Iron Sights next turn because, what's his name? Starbuck was the second to go. After that, Mega Man starts lining up next with his next shot. So you can see in this photo, Starbuck is now out of action, and 9/11 has earned first blood for this shootout scenario. So with that being said, we go down the shooting list. Next up, we have Mega Man. Mega Man takes aim with his laser pistol, manages to pop one off, and also put Johnny the Boy down as well. Unfortunately for him, though, he doesn't put Johnny the Boy out of action. He just mainly incapacitates him, so he's down for the count right now. After that comes Moloko and Souljax. They try to cut loose on Clunk, but unfortunately both those guys miss as well. And since Johnny the Boy is incapacitated right now, it comes to Clunk's turn. And using the rapid fire skill, Johnny cuts loose with 2 shots from his stub gun with dum-dum bullets and hits them both right in the center mass of Tough Shakes and throws that guy in the down ground as well. Luckily for 9/11, he did not roll out of action. He's just down for the count as well. So now we have 3 9/11 gangers versus 1 lonely ganger from the Iron Sights. And with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 1 after the shootout. Both Warlord Ace as well as Fresh Prince Bel-Air roll off for initiative, and the Iron Sights earn their first turn. So you can see in this photo is taken directly up to Moon Phase. Clunk wastes no time whatsoever, charging directly into Mega Man, engaging that guy in close combat as well. And as you guys know, if you've seen from his skills, Clunk is actually a beast at close combat as well. Johnny the Boy, since he's only down right now, scoots away 2 inches to try to put as much much distance between himself as well as the rest of 9/11, because if he gets charged in the while that he's down, he'll be automatically put out of action in close combat. So that pretty much makes up the Moon Phase on this one, and since there is no shooting phase, we go directly to the combat phase. And in the combat phase, Clunk has no problem putting the pain on Mega Man. He actually causes 4 wounds onto Mega Man. It definitely puts that guy out of action, earning himself 20 experience points in the process of doing so as well. So that was an absolutely brutal combat, and just showed you exactly the kind of power that Clunk is dealing with. One of the things that he did is he disarmed Mega Man in the very first round of combat, so Mega Man lost his last pistol. So the only thing he's fighting with is a knife, so because he only got to roll one of his attack dice as well. At the same time, my buddy First Prince Bel-Air was rolling 6s like it was nobody's business, so because he was getting bonuses to his combat scores as well. As you can see in this photo, after taking out Mega Man, he follows up and follows through and engages Tough Shakes in the next round of close combat. Here's a close of Mega Man now down out of action, so now 9/11 has lost its first member to this scenario. So with the recovery phase over, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, turn number 1 for 9/11. All right, so that takes directly to bottom to number one after move phase for the 911. As you can see in this photo, in order to help out Tough Shakes, Souljax decides to charge into the fray as well, so he engages in Clunk in close combat. Unfortunately for my buddy Warlord Ace, one of his guys already down us since he already got engaged in close combat while he was down by Clunk. Tough Shakes is going to go automatically out of action for that part as well. So close combat between these two will determine exactly what happens in the next combat phase. At the same time, Warlord Ace also charges in Moloko and has a charge directly to Johnny the Boy. Since Johnny the Boy is already down, he's going to automatically go out of action as well. Since there is no shooting phase, we go directly to the close combat phase. And in the close combat phase, it was absolutely a massacre. Automatically, what's his name? Tough Shakes automatically goes out of action because he's already down when Clunk charged into him. After that, Clunk as well as Souljax actually go out and try to fight it out as well. However, between the die rolling that was taking place as well as the deflect special skill that Clunk also has, he had to force my buddy Warlord Ace to roll a reroll on one of his attack dice. He originally rolled a 6, but because he used the deflect special ability, he had to roll again and got a 2 for his combat score as well. In the end, it ended up that Clunk actually put 3 wounds onto Souljax as well, so now Souljax automatically goes out of action. At the same time, Moloko automatically puts down Johnny the Boy because Johnny the Boy is already down when he engages in close combat, and so now the shootout scenario is resting upon these two gangers, which is Clunk as well as Moloko. Here's a close-up of the 2 iron sights who are out of action. On the left-hand side there you got Starbuck, and on the right-hand side there you got Johnny the Boy. At the same time, you also have the close-up here of the 911 guys who are out of action. You got Souljax on the left-hand side. In the center, you got Mega Man. On the right-hand side there, you got Tough Shakes as well. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the iron sights. So that takes us directly to the top of turn number 2 after the move phase for the iron sights. And since close combat is working out so well for Clunk, my buddy Fresh Prince Bel-Air decides to charge them directly into Moloko. So now both these guys are engaged in close combat. And since there is no shooting phase, we go directly to the combat phase. And in the combat phase, Clunk managed to put the final killing blow onto Moloko. The combat between these two is actually pretty nuts when they roll dice. Basically, their combat scores are almost the same. The only difference came to 1 point, and that 1 point difference came because Clunk charged into combat. So because of that, he got that 1 additional point. He rolled up to wound this guy, rolled a 3 because he's using a stub gun with dum-dum bullets, managed to put the end of wound on Moloko, so because that Moloko automatically goes out of action. So as you can see in this close-up, all 4 members of 911 are now out of action. We got Souljax, Mega Man, Tough Shakes, as well as Moloko now all out. And so because of that, the Iron Sights automatically win the battle. So with the yelling and the shooting and the screaming and the dying that took place, it ended up being a victory for the Iron Sights. As you can see on this picture, the entire 911 has been tabled, and a lone 1 Iron Sight guy is left alone on the overpass. That pretty much does it for this one scenario, ladies and gentlemen. With that, we go directly to the post-game because now this battle report is officially over. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, with that we go directly to the post game. As you can see, there's a new updated list after the game for 9/11 for the roster. First of all, let's go and talk about the injuries real quick. Tough Shakes made a full recovery, as did Mega Man. However, old Moloko as well as Souljax both earned old battle wounds. So now those two will have to roll off on the injury table to see if they actually participate in future battle reports at the same time. As for advancements, Tough Shakes got +1 to his strength, Moloko got +1 to his weapon skill, Souljax got +1 to his toughness, and Mega Man got +1 to his leadership. The gang worked the territories for 75 credits of profit. However, because they lost so badly into this battle report, they automatically lost one of their territories as well. So they lost their Gilder contact, which automatically got transferred over to the Iron Sights on that part, unfortunately. For the merchant, what they said to do their 75 credits, they hired a new ganger. His name is Nero. He's a ganger who's armed with the last rifle, so now he's a new addition to the gang. Their new gang rating now is at 1,567 points. They have 1 win as well as 3 losses. So things are slowly looking kind of rough for 9/11, but who knows? They might be able to turn around as the campaign goes on. And with that, we go directly to the Iron Sights after the game. For the injuries, Johnny the Boy got a head wound, so now because of that, every single time he goes into combat, he has to roll to see exactly what's going to happen to him, whether he's going to have a frenzy or stupidity. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens either way. And then Starbuck made a full recovery, luckily for him. For the advancements, Johnny the Boy gained 1 advancement. He got the rapid fire skill, so now because of that, he's kind of advanced when it comes to shooting. At the same time, Clunk, that guy actually advanced the most. He got 3 different advancements. He got +1 to his ballistic skill, +1 to his leadership, as well as learning the combat master skill. So now Clunk is even deadlier in close combat. For the territories, the 9/11 Iron Sights worked their territories and earned 65 credits as profits. They also stole away the Gilder contact from 9/11's territories and added that to themselves as well. In the end, they ended up buying a silencer as well as a grappling hook for what's his name, 4-star buck, for a grand total of, 55 credits, and they take the 10 remaining credits and put aside their stash. The new gang rating now is at 2,143 points. They got 3 wins and 3 losses. So, as you can see in this photo, ladies and gentlemen, the Ironside just slowly climbing up the ranks. Well, that's going to do it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be another end for Tales in the Underhive Battle Report number 20. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what your guys' input is on these battle reports. We're always finding these invaluable all the time. As well, check out our Instagram page as well as our Google Plus page to stay in the latest news on what's going on with the hobby. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for this one. We'll see you guys on the next one. You guys stay classy.